Hello, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower, and I'm back. I have my YouTube channel back. It's so exciting, and I'm so happy to be with Neil Gar, as the first person I'm actually talking to since I've gotten my channel back. It's been a couple years since I've posted on
Mhm.
YouTube, so I'm so happy to be talking to you, Portal to Ascension, that you created way back 2011, 2010, right? We've been
Yep.
together since the beginning. You
In the
had we had
beginning, yeah.
events.
I was just trying to figure things out back then, you know. You're the first speaker that we had a constant relationship with because I was just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall trying to see what would work, you know. And then we started working together and it just grew from there. So it's been a beautiful journey together. But I just want to say congratulations. I'm really happy for you to have your channel back because I remember when it went down, this was your main source of outlet to everybody, to the world.
Yeah.
And when I had all of my social platforms, Facebooks and Instagrams deleted during that era, it was an existential crisis for me because all of my identity, my contact, my outreach was all based on that. So I can only imagine, how you feel now that you have that back.
Yeah, no, it was a lot. I didn't really have backup channels that
Mm,
I was building. I mean, I had created them, but I mean, and in the time I was gone, I had a really hard time building those other channels like Rumble and what I noticed after my channel was gone was a lot more disinformation and smear campaigns and false narratives being put out there that were not taken down without the voice to be able to counteract it or share my information. And so it's been a really intense couple of years.
yeah,
Uh, So I'm really excited about that. And
right.
to just, yeah, have my voice again for people to ponder and just, and so much has come through after meeting Dan Cooper. The information that I present now is on a whole other level. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm glad to be
right.
back. And,
Plus,
and
I would say that the channel coming back and YouTube allowing all these channels to come back, even Journey to Truth, they came back as well. Um, Goes to show that I feel like consciousness and truth is winning a little bit here.
it's a
You
really good
know,
sign. It's a really good
a
sign.
good
Portal
sign.
to Ascension, Jordan Sather. I mean, all these channels coming back. And when I started to see that, I went back to my channel and I noticed that it allowed me to appeal again. Whereas before I appealed,
Mm,
5 times and then there was no option to appeal anymore. And then
yep.
it allowed me to. And so that's a really, really good sign. This is a really, good sign. And it's endurance, really, because, you know, you take that away, what is the hopeful result? Defeat,
Yeah.
exhaustion, giving up and saying, all right, well, I guess it's over. And
Yeah.
we're not built that. So
Right. So a good question for you is like, because it's all about freedom of speech, right? And it's like, are you a freedom of speech absolutist that no matter what can be allowed to be said, or are there certain things that shouldn't be said? And I feel that what's happening right now is that freedom of speech is winning, and that we know that we can't just censor people based on the fact that people don't like what you're saying, right? It seems like both sides are always trying to cancel each other because they don't inherently agree with each other. But the best way to move forward in the world is through discourse. Is through discourse and not being reactory and emotionally triggered, but having a conversation so that we can come up with a solution rather than trying to make someone look like they're the other. Therefore, you should hate them. You shouldn't even listen to what they have to say, right? And so now you have this platform back again to be able to communicate your thoughts and feelings. So, do you want to share maybe what you feel excited about sharing?
yeah, well, I mean, it's all about communication skills and seeing all these different perspectives and appreciating diversity and all the different um, perspectives that are out there. You can censor and have boundaries to what you do not want to hear, but to actually remove a voice um, completely out of the dialogue and conversation doesn't make any sense. It's sort of like
Yeah,
going into a library. You don't have to read every book in the library. You're going to gravitate towards what resonates. You might be curious about other things, and after picking it up, you might decide it's not for you. We need to have that sovereign choice. So what I'm excited to share about, well, there's a lot about my great grandfather's administration and what really took place. Um, this Greada Treaty has been a rumor that has been circulating for decades. And I have uncovered a lot of information that sets the record straight about what really happened and what Eisenhower set up and his communications with Val Thor and appealing to the Guardians and where I come in. But that's just to dismantle false narratives and how they attempt to rewrite history. What I'm more excited about, which I'm going to be talking about at the event coming up, November 8th in Sedona, Arizona, is material that has to do with this ascension. And what is ascension? How does this relate to our DNA and this time of awakening? What are the timeline wars? What has been, weaponized? And when I look at that, I look at the framework around the 13th sign entering our experience again, the Venus transits, and the Sophionic corrections, the grid work that has taken place to make this planet hospitable for the mother energy to anchor in and return, to reclaim her body. Humans are doing this at the same time. So there's this micro and macro connection. And I use the zodiac as a way to understand how inversion has shown up in our lives, how the psyops and false flags and social engineering programs stream through media, entertainment industry, government, religion, just every sector of our society, every pillar of society, in order to keep us in the shadow inversion aspects of these planetary alignments and our own birth chart. So how do we unlock the dormant DNA? It's being conscious and mindful of the higher octaves of these planetary energies and their alignments and how it corresponds with the physical body, our organs, our circulatory system, and the original planetary grid network. So when we dismantle the inversions and the reversal grid from ourselves, we're actually doing that for the planet. And I go into the galactic history, the bigger picture aspect of it all, and how to make sense out of it in the here and now as we navigate our human experience. So humanity is in the middle of an energetic acceleration, and I want to show what it looks like to retune our biology to the earth and cosmos. Our DNA is remembering its harmonic connection with the sun, the elements, and the greater field of life. So the timeline wars
Love
are
that.
harvesting and siphoning our energy to battery up an artificial timeline. And the war is on consciousness, right? So I want to remind people that we can only really win the war on consciousness from within by dismantling those inversions and that dark weaponry and all those programming so that we can rise to, the higher octaves that switch on dormant DNA and restore the 12 tree grid and tree of life template.
I love it. I love what you said about um, if we correct the inversal grid one by one, we're collectively doing it for the planet, right? Because we're pretty much emanating our reversal grids from within us externally into our projection of what reality looks like for us. So if we're able to harmonize and heal that, then the earth has the reality has no choice but to reflect the inner peace that we're cultivating. And what you said about tuning our earth and our biology to the inherent truth and the wisdom of the cosmos. I mean, there's no truer words ever said because it seems like we're fighting against nature. It's like, what would it be like if we married nature and came with it, realized we were part of nature rather than resisting it, you know?
Yeah. The planetary system knows how to heal itself, just like our higher self knows how to heal us. And our intuition is the guide. And when we're cut off from that, we're looking outside of ourselves for something to save us or some technology. And the technological is important, but if it overrides soul development, then we begin to lose that true embodiment of what awakening is all about. I mean, artificial systems, technological, financial, and even mental operate on fear and control. Organic systems like the sun, the trees, just the elements that we're made of, the nucleic acids of our DNA are elemental, earth, air, fire, water, and ether, which represents the 13th sign, when we connect into that, we, can see what needs to surge from within to begin to break down what creates toxicity and what creates stagnation, and also a dependency bond that is leveraged in order to battery up an artificial timeline that takes us into greater enslavement that is
Yeah.
presented to us in a lot of facades that
Right.
placate people or give them a sense of false security. And to me, and I say it redundantly, it's like breaking up with, a partner that has captured your self-worth and leveraged your fears and exploited the initiations in order to own the process and medicate it or treat it or diagnose it as being something wrong, when actually it's a natural organic process to begin to remember and reclaim the truth from within. And when we
Yeah.
achieve that, the earth has no choice but to respond and reflect it back. So we're dismantling this weaponry from within by just recognizing the programmings as they come up,
Yeah.
understanding the triggers and the traumas that are connected with it, and moving into more coherence instead of addiction spirals or victimhood. And they
Yeah.
rely on that. And as long as we're pit against each other, they're providing the false solution. But when we come together and harmonize, we recognize that we all have something to bring and embody to begin to integrate and repair um,
Hmm.
our true Christosophia DNA. The
Exactly.
planetary grid is made of this. The original template, 7 root races, 5 cloister races, the whole planetary grid network holds this. So where
Hmm.
the dark technologies put it in reversal and weaponized nature with geoengineering, it also did that to the human.
Mm.
So breaking all that down, we can learn a lot by looking at the zodiac and the 13th sign and what that means.
Yeah, yeah. Would you see like if this is some sort of simulated reality, I think maybe we should have an interview just on that topic one day. But then could it be like our astrology is kind of like us being able to peek through the computer program of what created us? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And like what happened, like the Saturn moon matrix, right? I'll be talking about that in
Right.
my presentation. Um,
That's one of my favorite topics. The Saturn matrix is such a trip to me. Just
yeah.
like the way that the frequency is emanating from the rings, right? The rings of Saturn are connecting to the moon, and then that's projecting an overlay of this matrix. Is that kind of like what it is?
Yeah. And this duality, this imbalance of masculine and feminine, these kind of lower creator gods that um have kind of sealed us into this, imprisonment. But it's the mind that has been captured. It's our emotional reactions that, feed into the loss of our galactic origins and the bigger picture of who we really are. So there's corrections, right? In order to dismantle the Saturn moon matrix and move from the controlling aspects of Saturn, the black cube, the harvesting and siphoning aspect of what control and misplaced authority, rulership, does, to raise it to self-mastery, because Saturn in its higher octave is self-mastery. The lunar energies that have been impacted by Saturn put us in, victimhood or emotional turmoil. And then you see the patriarchal programs and you see how it's played out in society. And there's not integration of the masculine and feminine, the electric magnetic. And
Hmm.
the reversal grid technology dismantled it, on the planetary grids. So we pick up on that. We're born into that. So we collapse the control matrix when we begin to notice the limitations of those programs. And so the 13th sign, the dodecahedron platonic solid, the ether element that was put in reversal as well, is revealed in the symbology of the inverted pentagram. The Venus transits and the 13th sign returning has helped to weave it back into connection with the 0 point unified field, which then purifies the elementals, begins to break down the dark Saturn and lunar artificial matrix aspects and
Yeah.
begins to bring us into more coherence of hierogamic union, alchemical marriage, and the restoration of our DNA, which helps us to see that we're in a divine relationship with creation. And
Right.
we'll begin to experience the growth periods and initiations on a more organic level instead of get captured into the psyops and false flags that leverage these planetary alignments to throw us into a fear and controlled response.
Hmm.
Like when a huge initiation is about to happen or a huge growth period for humanity is about to, happen, some incredible planetary alignment is taking place. Usually there's some kind of false flag or psyops that plugs in to us, throws us into survival and a trauma loop, and then we kind of lose our footing. So, and starting at a very early age, us processing through our emotional body, our mental body, um, the fires of transformation, are looked at as anger management, depression, anxiety, but we don't understand the root of why those emotions and feelings and triggers are coming up in us. It's we hand it to somebody outside of ourselves. And disclosure as well. It's like something outside of ourselves. When we do this work from within and we give it more of a voice and we understand the root of where it comes from, it begins to show us our true calling and our mission. So that's how I work. I work with the zodiac because the zodiac corresponds with our DNA and the planetary grids. The reversal grid technology has shown us an astrological chart that has so many Saturn squares or lunar imprints that make it hard to reach into the avatar consciousness, into the higher self. So we're draining the swamps of all these pillars of society so that they emerge instead of hospitals, healing centers, instead of prisons, rehabilitation,
Exactly.
de-weaponization of the mind,
Yeah.
uh, recovery from mind control, SRA, acknowledging the hidden architecture that has existed for too long, that has kept us in amnesia and dis-ease.
Right. What I'm getting from a lot of what you're saying is there's a lot of different things there, but one thing was that humanity in general, societies, institutions, we put band-aids on top of things to heal. We put band-aids on top of sicknesses. We give people pills in order so they can go back to work and be productive. And what you just shared with these institutions is a really great reflection of how externally in these institutions will be a reflection of what we do internally. For example, the you talked about the prison industrial system and us having rehabilitation centers rather than punishment centers, right? And what does that really mean? It's looking at what is the root, what is the core root of why we do and act the way we are, and how do we create harmony at the core of it all in order to bring some real true peace.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so it's going to be a lot more coherent. It's going to make a lot more sense when, people see the slides and see the presentation. But that's kind of the
Mhm.
gist of it is correcting the reversals, finding your truth, allowing yourself to get in touch with your emotions, your inner elementals, instead of further away because somebody else is going to solve it for you. Um, it's getting closer to yourself in the face of adversity and disease instead of further away because
Mm,
of your fear response. When we hand it over to somebody else to define it for us, we lose capacity to go through the experience.
yeah,
And that's what holistic healing and working with frequency and sound is all about
many
is
tools.
yeah. So all of this is a huge part of what we're stepping into,
Mhm.
and I'll just be sharing a lot of information about all of this. And
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So, just to let everybody know who's tuning in, so Laura, you've got a lot of things coming up, and I feel like you're going to be expanding a lot next year. You have some projects that you spoke to me about already, but in the near future, what's happening on November 8th? So, we're tuning in right now, everybody, to let you know about, just to say, Laura's saying she's back and really happy to be back on this channel, and there's going to be a lot more content coming out. But November 8th, which is just a few days from now, Laura's going to be in Sedona, and we're speaking predominantly about the information that she's going to be speaking about there. The links in the description, and so in the description and in the comments pinned there, you can either come live or attend in person. epic venue. Actually, I didn't tell you this, Laura, but the whole floor of the venue is made out of organite. The
Oh,
whole
really?
floor. Yeah, the whole place is intentional. The walls have tensor cables and Tesla. There's a Tesla coil built in the middle of the floor underground. Yeah, so it's like a super jam-packed, energetic center. Then we also have the live stream, so you can tune in for the live stream as well. And then Laura has another event coming up in November at the end, but I think we'll come on again and maybe speak about that in the future, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing people in Sedona. I hope you can attend, and if not, there's the live streaming, and I'll go even further in depth and in this interactive webinar to dive into the Q&As and any questions that might come up. I mean, this talk is really about remembering what we are. We tend to think of DNA as a biological code, but it's also a light template, a bridge between spirit, matter, and cosmos. And as the Earth's frequency shifts, our DNA is literally retuning to that field. The same harmonic that animates the sun, the grids, and the
Mm.
galaxies is awakening within us. So, you know, every single one of us matters. Every single one of us has this purpose. It's not something that somebody else is going to do for you. And the more we step up to, this awareness within ourselves and activate with each other, the less any kind of parasitic force will be able to enter or contaminate our field, our consciousness, our minds, our emotions. And that's the guiding principle behind everything else responding in reflection. And the synchronicities will be even greater, the divine magic and flow, and the miracle of rapid healing will accelerate. So you don't have to wait for anything. Just remember, it's you.
Beautiful. I feel like the awakening is inevitable because not only from a lot of my information and research on the cycles of time, but you were saying we're going to the 13th house. The cosmos and the stars are benefiting our evolution,
The
right?
correction of the ether element coming out of reversal, the fact that we move into Ophiuchus every year from November 30th to December 17th means that that alchemical substance, the breath of life, the quintessence, the divine feminine, the mother returning, is literally purifying and transmuting and alchemizing all the dark weaponry that has gotten into our system. Before it was a lot harder. But the corrections, have taken place, just like we would want to detox and get out, any heavy metals in our body or any
Yeah.
programmings that keep us in digression or divide and conquer or negative ego. Spirit is able to come into the flesh and into matter when it's in when the body is hospitable to receive it.
Mm.
So that's been the process on the macro and micro scale. And when we do it, we offset the dark technology, and wherever you know there's been reversal grid manipulation in the locations that we reside in or that we travel to and the sacred sites. That's why grid workers go to sacred sites, because those have been particularly targeted to be thrown into a reversal spin. And we correct it through moving through those levels and layers so that our creative imagination is not captured anymore uh, to create a trajectory that the powers that stole are utilizing for this simulation. So we're
Yeah.
the powers that be, they're the powers that stole. And when we cut the
Mm.
cords and find that sovereignty, that control grid collapses. And
Yes.
each one of us that does this has a ripple effect to the whole collective. And so we should be very proud of ourselves, because a lot of us have moved through a lot of energy and a lot of underworlds to
Yes.
get to where we are today.
Yeah. 100%. So, all right. So we're wrapping up, I guess, right, Laura? So really excited for your channel coming back and for everything you're going to share. So everybody, again, November 8th, just a few days from now, if you can attend live in Sedona, but if you're around Sedona or even can fly out, please do come out. It'll be a great experience for everyone to be there in person. And then if you want to check out the live stream, we have a really great live stream set up there as well. And we'll put the link in the description for you all.
Yeah. And everybody, I'll go through each zodiac sign, what DNA strand it corresponds with, the shadow inversion expression, and then the higher octave expression. And then you'll be able to sort of notice in your own field, in your own consciousness, in your own body, where you've been caught in that inversion to, remind yourself of a much more clear and divine way to embody. So it's like tuning up an instrument. That's why frequency and sound and all of this is part of the process. And understanding epigenetics. How does the mind talk to the body? If it's talking of programming, it creates disease. If your truth is talking to your body, you're going to see a rapid shift within yourself. So thank you, Neil, so much for hosting these events and all that you do and all that you present. And I can't wait to interview you for my documentary, and
Yep.
much to come, everyone. Good to be back.
Thank you, everybody.